What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode today of the Huddersfield Town Career Mode. So, this episode, we're going to be kickstarting off the Premier League. Also, there's some major news coming out of the group stage of the Champions League. Of course, it's the first season we're going to make it into the Champions League here with Huddersfield Town. So, we'll get to see what group we've been drawn into, and you'll have to wait for that at the back end of today's episode. Let me say this. It is such a tough group. I looked at it and I was like, there is just, I would say, a 60-40% chance that we get out. So 60% that we do, 40% chance that we don't. It is that close in the group stage, in my opinion. So the teams we've got, it is one of the more difficult groups, I think, that we possibly could have got. So you'll see it later on anyway, guys. And as we kickstart today's episode off, as I said, we've got 3 games to come today, all of them being Premier League, barring one, which is in the Cup. So hopefully we will kickstart our title defense off in the correct way by getting some points on the board. The first game we play here, luckily for us, is at home. It's taken on Arsenal. Of course, we played them on the final day of last season when we went on to win the Cup, and we ended up losing to them. So, yeah, we've got, I guess, a little bit of revenge to get here, if you will. And the team that we've got now is significantly better than it was back then. We've got a few more better players and stuff. You know, we've got a better defense. We've got Bonaventura playing in cam today in behind Smolov. So I would say our team is slightly better than it was back then. But Tommy Smith gives it to Bonaventura here. Bonaventura, lovely cut back here, gets it to Smolov, and he opens up his goal tally already. It's only taken him, 8 minutes into the first game to open up his goal scoring tally already. So, yeah, he picked up the Golden Boot last year, guys, didn't he? So now he's looking to pretty much do exactly the same thing this year, except I'm going to say he's going to hit more than he got last year. Of course, he ended up getting, I think, around 20, was it? I think he might hit 25 this season for us in the Premier League. That is the aim for Smolov anyway. He's got Bonaventura playing behind him now, so there's pretty much no reason why that's not a possibility here. Aaron Moy to Marcus Rashford. Rashford to Bonaventura, plays it through to Smolov again, and once again he finds the back of the net. Huddersfield 2, Arsenal 0, 22 minutes in. Bonaventura with both assists here for the 2 goals that Smolov got as he celebrates with him there, the former AC Milan man. And you have to admit, you know, what a start it's been here again, but the thing that disappointed me about Arsenal were they spent £55 million on Umtiti, right? They brought in a massive centre-back. They needed to improve after last season. They had a shocker of a season, as did a few of the other big teams in the league. And they came to this game here. I looked at their team, and I was kind of like, it's not a bad side. You know, they did have a few players that were a bit iffy, but most of their side was pretty good. And then I saw Spina in between the sticks, right? And I looked at it, and I was genuinely maybe surprised, because I thought they'd probably buy, you know, somebody like Jan Oblak or something along those lines, because Ospina, for me, had to do better with the first 2 goals. You know, Smolov, yes, to his credit, is a brilliant striker, and you know, his finishing is second to none. But the truth of the matter is, he came out on both occasions and just got beaten by Smolov. So, as it was made 3-0 here in the 90th minute, pretty much, by Aqua from the edge of the area, and this one again, I believe that maybe Ospina should be doing better with it. I was disappointed because, you know, again, I want this to be as hard as it possibly can be without me having to, you know, mess about with sliders or whatever. I want the big teams to perform. And to go from Arsenal last season where they beat us on the final day 2-1, maybe they didn't deserve to win that game, but they still did, to then collapsing and losing 3-0 in the opening day of this season, you know, it just kind of, I guess, showed that it's still going to be one of those seasons that we are probably going to be the team to beat. So maybe I do have to start using a little bit more sliders, you know, because, you know, we've still got, you know, tough games to come up. And Arsenal aren't going to be the toughest team that we play against in this Premier League season, but they are certainly one of the teams that I would hope would bounce back and get to the top 4 this year, unlike the teams that finished in there last year. Of course, us and Watford were the 2 teams that made it into there, and you probably wouldn't expect that. But match facts-wise, they had one shot. They didn't even, like, make me sweat, basically. So, bit disappointed with the way they played, but ultimately, we did fantastically well to get off to the winning start and get 3 points on the board with a 3-0 win. Chelsea played Man United on the opening day. Man United going away to Stamford Bridge and getting a 3-2 victory there, actually, which is surprising enough. But yeah, season started off good for us, and then we went straight out of that game into the next one, guys. This one against Everton at Goodison Park. Their team, you know, I looked at it again. They had a weird season last season. They started off pretty bad. They were low down in the league, and then they kind of picked it up a bit later on, got themselves to a decent area. I think they finished in like 15th, maybe, in the end of the season. So their team itself isn't terrible, but we should be able to beat them. If we're able to beat Arsenal quite comfortably, we should be able to go to Goodison Park here and basically play Everton off the pitch. So, came into this one on high spirits after the 3-0 win. Aaron Moy captain in the side in Tommy Smith's absence, I do believe, because I think Smith actually doesn't start this one. I think we started somebody. Actually, does he smart? Smith might start this, actually. I don't know why it's Aaron Moy is captain, because I'm pretty sure I said it to Tommy Smith. So anyways, that's the Everton team, Pickford, and they have a back five as well. Midfield three of Sigurdsson, McCarthy, and Schneiderlin. So their midfield three is pretty good, but ultimately, I think when you play a back five, if you're playing against a side like Huddersfield Town, who are, goals galore, if you will, we scored 3 in the opening day, and we were one of the highest scoring teams last season, you have to make sure that you catch us on the counter, because if you don't, we're going to pile the pressure on, and that's exactly what happened in the 37th minute here. Bonaventura a little unlucky to not get back to that one. Smolov looking to get his third in 2 games, can't do it as it comes back off the crossbar, and then somehow the rebound from Bonaventura stays out. You can see Pickford knows absolutely nothing about that. He's lying on the ground, and Bonaventura just hits it straight at him, and he makes a second save in that one. So into the second half we go. Rashford to Smolov. Smolov in the area, takes it first time, and makes the score 1-0 to the visitors here in this game. But I looked at it, and you can see from the replay, not the most cleanest of strikes. So I would say there's a little bit of question marks raised about Pickford here and about his defender, because Smolov here, to his credit, does get a lot of power behind the strike, but he probably shouldn't be scoring from this one. You can see Rashford straight to him. He takes it first time, so that's probably where it's caught it out, and Michael Keane can't get near it. And you just have to say that there, right there on your screen now, is probably where Pickford should save it. His dive is a bit strange. It's not completely in the corner from Smolov, but to his credit, he scores. We get a 1-0 lead in the game, and we have been the better team so far at Goodison Park. So probably well-deserved, if you will. And as Bonaventura was taken off there, we brought on Alexander Isak, switched to a 4-4-2 at this stage, and we luckily got the goal just before I did that, because I was trying to get the goal, of course, and changing up the tactics a little bit. But it actually didn't work out, because then Everton started to get into the game. Michael Keane, a long way up here, finds the pass to Danny Rose on the left. Rose whips in a cross, and it's Jamie Vardy in the middle who should make the score 1-1. Heads his effort wide of the post. So disappointing finish from him, because that should have been 1-1, as I said. Nakwa picks it up for us now. 3 minutes to go. Alexander Isak to Marcus Rashford. Over the top ball. First time to Smolov. Smolov gets in behind. And to Pickford's credit, where he should have saved the first one, he makes a probably goal-saving stop there on the second chance. So, after 90 minutes of being played at Goodison, we did end up with a 1-0 victory. It was a slender victory at that as well. It was a low-chance game, that one. It wasn't as I guess, hotly chanced as the first game, even if that is a word, I don't know. But you can see by the match facts again, we were dominant, we were the better team, and we probably deserved to get the 3 points from that one. So, again, my sliders, I improved it a little bit. I put their run frequency up of the AI and kept the other 2 things that we already had. So that at the moment, that's what we're running with. I think I'm going to play about with it a bit more, though, to make it even more tough for us. So, as the 2 Premier League games are done, we're on 6 points after 6 available points. 4 goals, 0 conceded. Couldn't really ask for a better start, could we? As we went into the next game, guys, which is going to be in the Carabao Cup at home, the Kirklees Stadium, taking on Burnley, and it is a very changed side for this one. I think there was 11 changes it might have been in this one here, which is surprising, but of course, you got to use your squad depth as best you can. It might not have been a full 11 change, but I know for sure there was at least 8 or possibly even 9 changes. Apologies if you have my phone there. 8 or even 9 changes to the side coming into this one. So we had player debut for Antonio. He's, of course, a Spanish player we picked up from the free agents this season. And the team there, as you can see, I think it did actually have 11 changes. It did. It had 11 changes to the side, which started that game against Everton last time out. Alexander Isak and Munier start up top. We have a midfield 4 of Van La Parra, Morris, Billing, and I think the right winger was it Ince? No, it was that Spanish guy, the Spanish guy. And then the back 4 was Mark, was it Schindler, Jorgensen. The right back was actually Kyle Walker-Peters, of course. We got him from Spurs this year. And then in goal, our highest rated goalkeeper at the club, but he can't get started because Hall keeps playing well in the Premier League. And straight from kickoff here, Burnley turned into Barcelona. I just couldn't get the ball off them. I make a tackle here with Schindler, give it away to their other man, so that was 1 tackle. Then I make a second and third tackle there on Vokes, and somehow still don't get the ball. And then Burnley play it through, and they're 1-0 up. So, yeah, not the way you want to start a game off, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I was slightly disappointed because I made, 3-4 tackles there in a row and didn't come away with the ball. So it is annoying, but at the end of the day, it's FIFA, and sometimes you get that luck, and it's just annoying when it happens. But I have to come back now. We are the technical, I guess, most expected to win side, even with 11 changes here, so you would expect us to go through in the game, but credit to Burnley, they kept me out until the 81st minute. My first chance of the game coming in the 81st minute. Mark into Billing into Moy into Ince. Ince gets in behind, he had a dodgy first touch, he smashes one goalward, it takes a deflection, comes off the upright, and that was all the game had in store. So it's a strange one because we played 2 Premier League games on, well, the first one, of course, had different slider settings, and then, of course, we made it even harder in the second one. Picked up 2 victories. Then we play in the Carabao Cup against Burnley, and fair enough, we did change the side by 11 changes, but I felt that team that I played there should have been able to give Burnley a good game, and yet we got knocked out. So I don't know what to make of that because that was a bit of an interesting one. So, yeah, I mean, it's annoying that we're out pretty much in the first round of the Carabao Cup, but if I'm being completely honest with you, having won it last season, I don't really see a point in us going for it again. We won it last year, and at the end of the day, you have to look at it this way. We're playing Champions League football now, we're playing FA Cup, we're playing Premier League. Having already won the Carabao Cup, I was happy to kind of let it slip and basically get knocked out. I wasn't really worried about that. So it is disappointing, but I'm glad we did get knocked out because it's less games for us to play now. We've got more games coming up in the Champions League, and I need to make sure my team are fully fit. So as I'm going through the teams here, you can see what they did in this transfer window. Leicester picking up Zuma and Spinazzola, or something like that. Liverpool actually sold £72 million worth of players, Sturridge, Matip, Markovic and Alexander-Arnold, and only picked up 1, which is kind of strange there. Man City picking up £90 million pretty much worth of talent. United spending a nice bit as well, 90 million quid there, but they let go of 3 of them. I think a couple of them on loan, though, so that's kind of weird. And then you got Southampton spending almost 30 million, but letting go of 60. Spurs, of course, sold Walker-Peters to us, and that was the only sale they got in this window. Swansea spent a fair bit as well, which I'm pretty happy to see that. But then Watford coming in with a big £50 million spent. They did sell, though, around about £30 million worth of players. So that's probably how they afforded that, because I was a bit surprised when I saw it originally. But they did finish second, so I'm sure they got a nice boost of their transfer value and transfer money available to them. And then, of course, Arsenal spending 105 million on 2 players, Titi and Carvalho. It was about 50 million for each of them. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. So, anyways, that is how the transfer window ends. Of course, we had no more money ourselves to spend, so we left it off there. Now you're going to be able to see the groups that we have actually been drawn in, but just before that, we had a sim game against West Brom, which we went into here. I decided to sim it. I'm going to be simming a few more games this season, guys, to get through the seasons a bit quicker as well. And as this is, of course, career mode, I'm playing a lot more games now than I was previously. I've got now my player going on, Ultimate Team going on. I don't mind simming a couple of games here and there, games that I feel we should be able to win. So, Smolov picks up the lead for us here, 32 minutes in against West Brom. And it was actually going to be a very tense game, this one, because at 1-0, 60 minutes in, you never know what's going to happen. Chadley misses a penalty in the 61st before Smith makes the score 2-0 before Phillips does pull one back for West Brom. But ultimately, they couldn't get anything else out of the game. So we did get away with a 2-1 win, and we do come away with the 3 points there. So 9 from 9 so far, guys. It is the best possible start to our defense. And now, the Champions League group draw. Excited for this one. You'll see the group that we got drawn into here in a moment's time. The first group there on the screen, the second one as I'm scrolling through here. I just want to make sure I have enough time to sign off the video as I'm going in this one. Watford draw with Bayern Feyenoord as well, so that was an interesting one there. United in with Inter, Lyon and Fenerbahce. Real Madrid have got Liverpool, Galatasaray, Celtic, so Liverpool's group is kind of tough as well. And we're waiting for the last English club, which come up right now in a moment after Group G's done. I think we're in the next one. And it is going to be Paris, Milan, Huddersfield and Zenit. Crazy tough. But if you enjoyed today's episode, guys, I like rating, greatly appreciate it. As always, thank you for your continued support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you all again tonight at 6 PM UK time again for another video, guys. Catch you all then. Adios.